No, Allison.
No,
Allison is on then.
Oh, she.
Okay, so we have quorum here. We could call the meeting to order 7:04. Doesn't look like we've got any members of the public either here or online, so we can move on. We need to approve the minutes. Ethan had sent a lot of edits to the minutes.
I only saw
Were
the
not-
first page,
Oh, okay.
but the thing is, if somebody makes a motion, that's what the motion is. I can't cross it out even if it's redundant. Because that's what was.
That's
said.
right, but you could then cross out the sentence that preceded it and just only put in the motion.
That was a motion.
Right,
There was a motion to raise the cap
right,
and then a motion to make one of those accounts automatic pay, auto pay, with a
okay,
cap of $125. So
Okay.
there's nothing I could cut out there.
okay.
And then the other thing was.
Brian Coon spells his name with a C, I think, is that
All
correct?
right, yeah, I didn't see that page, so
Okay, so we need to, we'll need to make those changes.
all right,
We can leave off the redundant,
wait, Coons with a C.
I believe it's C with a.
The first
Coon.
page I fixed, the second
Is that
page
right?
that Ian made comments,
I was C.
Ethan,
It is.
Ethan made
That's
comments
right.
on it.
Yeah, it was C.
And the other two changes under the facilities report that I had were just to clarify that the items that were being removed were from the basement.
Okay.
And that the lights were changed over by the town for a warmer color temperature and energy
Okay.
efficiency. I believe that was what the purpose was.
Yes. All
And
right,
they're much better.
Yes.
Much
yeah,
better.
really. So with those two changes and Brian
Yes.
Coons and the other,
Can we have a motion to approve them as amended?
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay. Finances, payment of the bills, Let me pull up that page. Sorry, usually print things in.
I have a question as to what check number 3999 and check 4000. Both of which are for the Mid Hudson Library System. What are those for?
Not seeing the right page.
Do you want me to answer that, Ted?
Three, mid has, there's two checks.
There are two checks. One was the general assessment check. And I really don't know what title service was.
It's part of, as I understand it, part of their cataloging system. So it's just an automatic, it's a fee for a service that they provide through Sierra.
Do you know if it's annual or if it's
I believe it's
quarterly?
that one's an annual one.
Okay.
Unless it's not, which I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that's not, if that's.
That one's only $50, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that it
The
appears.
general
yeah.
assessment is the annual.
Okay.
Amount that we pay in.
Oh, and then check number 4006, there's a typo, it's Stanford without a D.
Okay, so it's all about.
You know, I really wish you and would write your reports up. But I would like to proofread yours. Say that, I think it's very rude what we're doing here.
What's that?
I think if you're going to make a correction, you send an email to me and I will correct it. But
I
to do
actually agree with that.
me, But you know, you do this at every meeting. You could have sent a nice email to Kenda. Let her fix it and resend it. But this business of just correcting all this crap, and that's what it is. I think it's very rude of people to do this in an open meeting to adults.
I actually agree with you, Ted. That's one of the points that I'm gonna bring up later on. But since you're bringing it up now, I would like to start getting the binder in PDF form. Because the way the binder is presented now, it's very hard to edit. And it seems like the historical, whatever, the history of how the board does things is that we come to the board and things get edited, like the minutes and whatnot, but that's very time consuming.
Mhm.
And the 3 other boards I sit on don't do it that way. It gets done, you know, within email before the meeting.
What, I guess send it to you in PDF. Is there, you're not able to manipulate that?
I'm not, maybe it's just me. That's why I sent it the way I did it this month. And just took screenshots of it.
Well, I think if you wanna edit a file, it needs to not be in PDF.
Oh,
It
maybe
needs to
that's
be
the-
in a document form. Yes, we do spend a fair amount of time doing this. We can't do anything about it this month, so, let's, with the notes, from Ted, I appreciate the commentary. We can, I don't know what are there any other questions about what the items are? That we're talking about?
No comments? You notice on this report that the New York State report has been filled in and done, and the federal form for the 990 has been done.
Okay,
They're both here in, well, they're both with you in the library. So you're set for the state and the federal.
okay, great. So can we, pay the bills, we need a motion to accept this CAP report?
I'll make a motion to accept the CAP report number 240521F in the amount of $23,661.47.
Can I have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there other questions about the other reports? I don't, nothing struck me when I was looking at them, earlier this week.
I have a
Yes.
question.
It's nice to see a lot of blue. Is all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say.
it is nice. to see.
Sorry, Karen.
That's okay, no, sorry. I thought we weren't collecting fines anymore.
We're not, but if another library has a fine and the person returns the item at our library, we're under obligation to collect it for them.
And then once we collect it, we send it off to them, or?
Yes, we invoice, let's say, we collect the fine here, then we ask the collecting library to send us an invoice for that amount. They do, and then we pay them.
How many libraries, out of curiosity, are still collecting fines?
Stanford? Stanford? I don't know, not very many.
It's a minority, not.
It is,
Yeah.
it is
We had a
going
rash of
away.
Stanford fines and fees and everything else last month. It was
Hmm.
really weird.
So do we, just as a matter of understanding. So once a month, we would ask them to send an invoice, or do we ask them to send it immediately and then have multiple invoices to be paid?
It is so rare. It
Okay.
usually just happens like
Okay.
within the span of a week. Yeah,
Mhm.
usually I would just do it whenever it occurred. But
Okay,
in 1 week, we had 2 from Stanford come in, so usually
Okay.
it's very rare.
that's, I was just curious.
Okay.
Having been in the library, we used to get requests for repayment from NYU all the time. Were there other questions besides that? I saw that the annual money from the town came and it's been divvied up and sent to its holding pattern, which is nice to see. Nice corporate donations this month. So that's nice. Can we
I just have
to,
I guess there's a big difference in the e-materials. We're trying to kind of catch up with that. Is that what our opinion
Yes,
is?
well, that is in response to demand, and,
Right.
I'm sorry?
No, I said, right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, we actually had a report from the Hudson that arrived this week, no, late last week, about, how we are in relation to our obligations with respect to the other libraries, with how we are with, purchasing our e-materials. And from April of last year to March of this year, we're only behind 0.15% in our spending, so it's like $650. So
great,
that's actually pretty good. There's a lot of much larger libraries that are 1 or 2, 3% behind. So we're actually
which
doing
is still
well.
not that far behind.
Well, yeah, but we're doing well, and
Good.
so it's e-materials is the biggest concern for all of the libraries around here.
Mhm.
We're still, I mean, we're still within the budget at this point. We're not, if we're in Q2 already, we're just over a quarter of our materials budget. Regardless of which line it's showing up on. So that seems appropriate. Can we take a vote on accepting the reports as they are written?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, great, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Can I just ask a question about the e-material? So where does the, what is the, I can't even speak tonight, sorry. Who is receiving the money? Like, why are the fees so, it's like, if you buy a book, if you buy a physical book, right? It's $15, $20, right? So where are the fees going for those ebooks? Like, who's receiving the money that you're paying them?
Publishers.
So it's the publisher.
It's not,
Through Overdrive.
it's
or-
not libraries.
That was my
it's
question. What was
not
the publisher?
Hudson.
Okay.
No.
And so has there been pushback against the publishers
Oh, yes.
for
For
this?
over a
Yes.
decade.
Okay,
Yes, there's some, and we're taking some steps to try to lower our demand, because we've purchased 3 CD players, personal CD players, so we can get books on tape, because those are cheaper than getting your e-materials. And there's but yeah, there's a big pushback from all the libraries to try to do something about it has everything to do with legislations, DRM, digital rights management.
yeah,
And there's actually, if some legislation comes up in New York, which there were some bills last year to try to deal with this that failed. If it comes up again next year, I will be sending out blasts for y'all to call the Congress people, because that is something that can be controlled, may be controlled at a state level. We'll see.
okay.
I'm going to acknowledge that I have very little to say in my president's report. Deanne and I have had a couple conversations about how to move forward in the policy review. So we're going to start putting policy review on like several items on the agenda every month and kind of plugging our way through it. It just takes a long time to do it and to shuffle it around. There are, there's other things we need to start with. I've dropped the ball this month on setting up a meeting to talk about fundraising ideas. We need to move forward on that. We're actually doing quite well in the fundraising because of donations that are coming in on a larger scale than some years. But I don't think we should keep relying on that. I think we need to start having an idea for something sparkly at some point in the year. We did do that send out last fall. I think we should be thinking about something like that. But that's a pretty passive ask. I think we need to try to do something a little more active. The problem is like, I did, excuse me, we'll come back to that sentence, but I did bump into Beth McLiberty at the garden last week or the week before. And we did talk about the cemetery tours, which is a very popular event, but one that the current iteration of the board does not seem interested in participating in. We didn't really show up last year to help out so much, and it seems unless we're really going to participate with the help with the boots on the ground, that us getting half of it seems, in my opinion, an overreach in that, and so we have to think about what we're doing going forward and how we're participating in it. It's just that's something Beth really was into and very involved in, and but it just didn't seem like anybody. I showed up to help one day, but I couldn't be there for 4 hours, 4 days in a row.
Maybe since we sell the tickets, just take a percentage of the tickets. Unless somebody else.
I
is
think
gonna
we're gonna have to
sell.
sit down with them and figure out what our obligations will be and what, because we were selling the tickets because we were participating and we were,
Okay.
so if they still need a place to sell the tickets, then
Right.
we'll have to figure out what the
Makes sense.
percentages that we participate in the draw. But it's things just can't go the way they always went, just because they always went that way. And I don't know whether Beth is even interested in doing as much this year as she had in previous years. So just throwing that out to think about it, and that will have to circle back around with Diane and the Little Known Partner.
Given that Beth's on the board of the Sissing Center now and it involves acting and theater and the arts, maybe that's a conversation to turf over to them. But that's a conversation for a different time.
Yeah, we'll have to, I can't tell them to do it, but yes, you're right.
I'm sorry, could I add a little comment?
Sure.
Okay, I've been, volunteering and working here, so I've been part of this and most of the steps. We get a lot of people coming in and re-upping their cards and signing up for cards because of this event. And I think we should keep that in mind, that it's a lot of goodwill, that the town really loves this.
Yes, I agree with you. I can't personally, I can't run it myself, I can't do as much as Beth did. Doesn't feed into what I can bring to the table. We need to all, think about what we do. It is a very good you know, what other events can we have that are equally heartwarming and participatory, but,
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, it's Allison. I know it's a crazy day for me. But would it be worth it, Annie, if you have interest and other staff members have interest to pay staff members to do it? Would it be worth the return on what we would get if we were able to just have staff go if they were interested?
I think.
I mean, if we're paying staff an hourly rate for 4 hours for 4 days, compare that to what we're getting in return if that's something they're interested in.
I haven't thought about that. I was thinking this more from a standpoint where this is embedded enough in this town that if the library is backing out, people are not.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Are you just talking about people being there on the days, working at the desk there, reception desk?
Beth was.
What were the things that people?
You have to do,
Well, that-
light all the lanterns, you have to help keep people on the path. You have to greet people at the end, you have to blow out all the candles at the end, you know,
And
there's
there's all
the
the
desk.
prep work going
Right.
forward.
Getting the stuff there, the desk, like Beth handles the ticket part, like, that's the easy part. The not easy
The
part
checking people.
is the setup. It's very time consuming to like.
There's also, I remember like one year I volunteered to be the person who drives out to the highway department and collects cones. I think there are some that on some occasions they have like parking cones, but you're making a good point. I mean, I get that, we were told that the board didn't step up to the plate in this past occasion as much as as much as they would have liked. I think it'll be helpful if they or we or somebody lays out, like Kiri was just starting to do, all of the tasks and what they require. And I don't think, Claire, it should be up to you to, roll up your sleeves to the degree that Beth used to. But I think it'll be easier. I'm more likely to participate if I see this is what has to happen, and I say, well, look, I can donate an hour on this day and a half an hour on that day, and that's it. But maybe if enough of us can do that kind of stuff, it'll work.
That's fair. That's fair.
But again, it's like, Kiri, the day that you and I were lighting candles, like I had no idea. Like, is this a 3-hour project or is this a 15-minute project? So I walked into that realizing that it was a big ask.
Yeah.
It was a long project.
Yeah.
And
And-
also we were criticized for how we were doing it, which was not particularly fun.
Right. So, but I thank you for saying that. I was just, I guess my feeling about it was that if we're not showing up as much for it, that we shouldn't rely on that as our big kind of fundraiser.
How much did you earn from this?
It's like $1,500, you have
It was like $2,000 or something.
not-
They changed them around, but it is a well-loved event. Honestly, I haven't heard anything from Diane and or Lenora and Robert about what's going on for next year. So I don't even know what the plan is, going forward. So this might be a moot conversation. It might be, dying. It's, like there are events that have a lifespan that just, it's a sad thing, but they kind of like, have they run out of people to highlight? Do they want to, do the directors want to do it anymore? Have the actors fallen away? Are they, I don't know the answers to any of those questions. Because I was not involved at any point in the beginning of that. Alexis was involved, and Diane and Beth were very involved in that. So, like we should, I can return to Beth and continue the conversation with her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Patrick that I think we should have the tasks laid out, the time expected for the
Yeah.
tasks. And then we have to have a commitment from this, majority of the board that they're gonna be able to participate to do it.
Mm.
So,
Or we could draw straws, draw straws.
or we can draw straws.
Original restaurants, yes. Okay. I will actually be getting in touch with the board at some point in the next month. Maybe we can set up a time where we can have a secondary meeting, where we can start spitballing ideas for fundraisers, going forward. That's my president's report. I did nothing else to say.
Okay, so I changed up the format of the report a little bit. And I hope it's easier to read, Patrick, do you?
Yeah, I like it.
I'll spruce it up a little bit more later, but I just wanted to highlight one change. We did have a drop in patrons, but that is because we cleaned up some of our records. And we had been having some, temporary cards that were not being converted into permanent cards, and they were just kind of rehashing their cards, and so we took those out. And how many did they have? There
There were several people who'd made 5 copies of one card for themselves.
yeah,
So we had a fair amount we had to clean up.
so that was clean, but that's part of our process now. We're cleaning up stuff. Our Sierra, our E-Drive and all that, e-materials just continues to increase. Our children's programs are going to change a little bit since Samantha is gone. Samantha's last day was last Wednesday. I'm gonna continue the children's program, the story create time on Wednesdays mornings. But we're going to try changing some of the days or changing the programs a little bit for the evening ones, the game nights and the maker hour. I think we can do the maker hour, the game nights might be a little bit different. I think we have to have staff to take that over. But
And can I ask you a question about some of the children's programs? I obviously have 2 kids in the school system, and I've had quite a few people ask if the library does after-school programming for the kids at Seymour Smith. And so I'm wondering if that's ever been tried or considered to do something after school.
physically
At the library, but just so if it was school gets out at 3:15, so if something started at 3:30 at the library for the age group at the Seymour Smith, which is 2nd grade through 5th grade.
maker's hours and I'm sorry. Yeah,
We do.
we've had some had programs all along. They start at 4:30. Most of them start at 4:30 or 4.
At 4:30, yeah. Okay.
Morning.
So starting earlier was kind of the question that I got, because a lot of the kids, it's like, well, then you go home and then you don't come back out. So it was right after school. So pick up from school and then go directly over to the library for programming.
We could certainly consider that.
Okay. But I think that would be, a few people I've talked to, because then, so for us, for example, and for a lot of the parents that I've talked to, there's nothing in between. So, sports for that age group also kind of start at 4 o'clock, actually 5 o'clock, sorry. So there's that gap in between. So a 4:30 program, we couldn't make it because then we have to be at softball at 5. So having it start a little bit earlier might be something for you guys just to consider.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's see. So I'm finishing up the director's report for the community one. I'll have it out by the end of the month. We've got a lot of upcoming programs. I've put those in there. Name tags, this is off the thing. We are going to get name tags for the staff. Several board members have said they wanted some. Would y'all like to get for the entire board, would y'all like to have some as well? That would just have your name with your, if you go to a function or something?
I think we should have them if we're,
At
We
the,
were at the
Yeah,
director
yeah, I
saying
agree,
it
yeah.
was, it's nice to have if we're going somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't walk around here.
No, but like
where-
community day or, you know, there's something special going on, even book sale,
Yeah.
you know, just to let people know who you are and. Go right upstairs and then you get-
Patrick, did you say something? Or-
I was gonna say that, at some point there will be fundraisers, more fundraising opportunities and more fundraising events. And to that extent, any board member, any trustee should have a name tag if we're having, and even to the extent that we're volunteering on, at the cemetery tour.
Mm,
It's visibility for the library, it's branding, and it lets the town know, that I moved chairs for 10 minutes.
right.
Or whatever I can offer.
And
All
I would
right,
just
then.
say trustee and not position, since positions change,
Yeah.
so.
So the other thing was the New York Library Association membership. Do I need to put this before the board that we were gonna do this?
We have paid for it in the past,
Yes,
is
we
that,
have-
did we get the history
I
of
have
that?
no history of that.
I know that, I believe, Alexis re-upped our membership last year, prior to advertising the jobs because it gave us free access to the job list. But it seems like we should be a member library of the New York Library Association, but I think, it's $350. Is there a line item for this type of thing? or-
Memberships? Yeah, there is, because I've got one for the DCLA.
Cause if they're, wait, first close the window. Cause it seems like it should be just part of the budgeting cycle, to have that in, but there's staff memberships, but not the library memberships. I think, maybe when we do the budget next year, we should add a line item that includes the library's memberships in organizations.
Okay.
But I think we should, if it's a change in the budget, we should probably vote on it. So what we participate in supporting the lobbying of the Library Association by being a member, but we also get news and newsletters, and I think it's of value to participate in them personally. So I think should we put that forward to do it a new budget, new business, or just do it now? I don't know. Does anyone have a feeling about that?
Has it historically been re-upped by the director? Have we voted on it before as a board?
I could not find a record of, they don't have a record of us being members at the, I mean, I have records, passwords and usernames for the site, but they have redone their site and they cannot find us as a member. I don't understand this, but it may not have been within the recent past.
But I would think it would have been in the budget at some point.
Oh, I didn't look at that, I didn't think about that.
What about the other organization you just mentioned,
The
the
DC,
acronymous?
The-
DCLA.
The Dutchess County Library Association, or it's the library directors now.
Yes, we usually do pay, that's actually on the invoice list that we've already passed for the Dutchess Library, Dutchess County Library Association. It seems to me like it's something we should be paying for.
I go to a monthly meeting for them. We lobby in front of the legislature. We keep tracks of issues that are going around, that it's definitely worth it. It's $100 a year. It's definitely worth it. they put on that trustees dinner the other day, so.
Yeah, no, I
was-
think, I mean,
I just asked regarding process. Do
Oh, that
we
is-
as a board need to actually vote on it, or is it within the purview of the director to just? It's in the
truthfully,
budget. It seems like it's in the
It
budget
seems-
to me, but
yeah, it seems like it would be in the purview of the director to
Cool.
spend money that way.
I wanna spend money.
I just don't know what, I just don't know what line it should go in, so we need to figure that
We'll
out.
figure that out. Okay, we had a discussion, Allison, thank you very much for the PTO discussion, we're still working on that for policy. Our payroll company can track our PTO accrual. But it's gonna take, it's just a little bit more expensive than the software that Alexis found. And with a $250 setup charge, but it will make our lives so much easier, but we first have to get our PTO policy ironed out, which we have not done yet. And we're still going through library procedures, so we will continue that process.
I have a question on the PTO. Does that also do the New York sick time? That's,
You mean, is it comparable to, or is it in line with?
it counts the PTO. Does it also count? Does it just count PTO? Does it also count the accrual of sick time that's mandated by the state of New York for employers?
Allison, what did we? Are you still there? Okay.
I am, yes, sorry. So yes, it does. What we looked at was you have the option to either accrue 1 hour of sick time per 30 hours worked, or give your employees upfront 40 hours of paid time off that would cover sick time. So we were going kind of back and forth. It would be 100 times easier for tracking for GM to give everybody 40 hours upfront. And so I think that was something we talked about, and she was still looking at how to put it together for the employees, without making it any less than what we're doing now for them, and without with following the New York State sick law.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Okay,
Facilities?
no, friends, Jean, you got anything?
Nothing much going on.
So donations of books came in, even some today,
Mhm.
even though the deadline was
Yeah.
last week. So now we're in the process of setting up upstairs,
Great.
a lot of work. And then I have people for the sale to work at the sale, pretty much covered, I believe. So, that's all well and good, and then, we did our lunch and learn this past, for May, which was a focus on travel. And we had a good time, we discussed travel stories and looked at lots of travel books and answered questions and had some snacks. Yeah, we had a good time. And then in May, the lunch and learn is a focus on art.
June.
And that's this week?
Is that this week or you mean May?
In June.
June.
Did I say
June.
May?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
In June is the focus on art, in that the people who come to will bring a piece of art that makes them happy and share it with the group, so. And what else? Oh, we announced the Young Writers Contest winners,
Mhm.
and there was actually a little story about it that Lenora did. And we will be doing the money we do give for the summer reading program. Some goes to adults and some goes to children's programming or programming.
What is the summer reading program this year? I have heard nothing about it, so I just feel like we should as a board know what's going on.
Okay, it's the camp and
The camp.
Are you doing a summer reading program?
Yes.
Yes.
The adults is gonna be the standard we've had before, the raffle for
Okay.
every book you read.
Mhm.
The kids have a theme, is it Go on an Adventure?
I think so.
Yeah.
Molly's doing that. I haven't gotten a report
Okay.
lately. But yeah, and she's doing the Battle of the Books. which
What's the
is-
Battle of the Books?
That is a contest where you have a team who reads a series of books, like there's 5 books. They have to read it, and then they have a contest to name trivia out of that book. And it's a contest between libraries, and I mean, there's buzzers and there's prizes, and so it's a pretty big deal. So
How are we publicizing these? I'm just curious.
we had, let's see, in the schools, she's trying to do some marketing within the schools with the writing and English teachers. I think the group it's the older group, it's the older.
Yeah, just go for the team.
Yeah, the older teens for that one. The summer reading, Molly's going to the elementary schools next week to teach them, to hand out their forms to get a library card. So each child will get a packet that has a library application. I think she's doing some bookmarks or something else, or some things like that in there to encourage kids to not only get a library card, but also to learn how to do ebooks, how to check out ebooks from our site. So that's part of the summer reading.
Can we start advertising this stuff on social media? I feel like there's like a once a week something on Facebook, but then not. I'd love to know what the kids are doing and how, and I'm not seeing it when I walk in. and then-
Just created.
Okay,
We're
okay.
just-
Maybe we could get the newspaper to write an article about it,
Yeah. summer
about the
reading.
summer reading
Yeah.
program.
There's a plan in place. Yeah, we would,
Okay.
I love your ideas.
Okay,
Definitely
okay.
PR is on my
Okay.
list. Absolutely. Marketing.
And actually, part of the problem is the camp changed
Yeah.
directors, and it's a little different. And they didn't get together with you all yet, I don't think.
I think she has, they
With
started,
Molly.
they
Finally,
talked,
I mean, that
they
took a
finally,
while.
yeah, they finally got with Molly, we've got the rooms
Mhm.
upstairs. We've got our entertainment, and it was included in this packet, is to pay for most of that.
Good.
So we've got
Great.
that part done.
Great.
It's so hard when all the people change.
Right, and I get it, I'm just,
I know you keep prodding me for.
yeah, no, we need to keep, cause it's not just me, but like, if I'm questioning whether something's happening. Everybody else is not knowing that something's happening, so
We've
we
been-
need to.
I mean, there's the newsletter.
Molly does the newsletter, but we're doing, yeah, but
I mean, you put it in that.
yeah, we'll put it in the newsletter, yeah.
Yep,
it's-
yep.
we're-
Not everybody reads Facebook,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the plans are just, I mean, we're
Okay.
just putting the final touches on what
Okay.
we're doing, because we had a lot of. the
It just
camp-
feels that some of
I-
it's a
it
little
does,
late,
it
yeah,
does, it
okay.
does.
But they don't get out does the summer reading start before they get out of school?
No, it usually
So that's not
starts
till the end
starts
of, end of June,
June,
right?
yeah.
We've got till
Yeah.
June.
And I know like with the Pine Plains paper, at the end, there's always events
Yeah.
that are listed
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
Months or.
Yeah, but I think we could get them to do an article potentially about the summer
Yeah,
reading
summer
programs.
reading programs.
Millerton's is now, the Millerton News we're part of their beat now for news, so
Right.
they'll put us in there as well.
Good, good.
And we can advertise within our different libraries. That was another thing we're starting to, we
Mhm.
need to do is interlibrary advertising, because Stanford puts all their flyers over there. We can just do the same thing over there.
Sure.
But things are just now starting to gel, so we'll get to
Okay,
that.
great, great. Okay, and then so back to the committees, did we get anywhere with marketing with the sign? Up, here we go.
Okay,
Did we talk to Ed?
no, not yet, 'cause I
No,
want to talk
okay.
to you first.
Okay.
Okay, and Janine's. Okay, so I know there may be some issues with the visibility of the sign, so that's what
Mhm.
we'll need to talk to Dad about.
Mhm.
But I wanted to just, before we do that. I can pass these around, take a look, and Janine, I'll send them to you electronically as well. I wanna get an idea of. I think our piece is set because we have our logo already. It's really gonna be what the town wants to do on their section of it. So I'll just show you the different examples. So this example is sorry, Patrick, you can't see it. Is our logo right at the top. It's a regular post. It's up a little bit higher so that you can see underneath here. And then this is like the seal of Pine Plains, that you have in the town hall, and it's on the website. I think there's a book I took it on the website. So that would, and then we'd have the open sign that would hang down below. Then another idea I had was just to do sort of what we have on the sign coming into town, which is the pines. Obviously we need to have the name there, so it doesn't quite work visually, I don't think, but I'll show you there. So this is not my favorite one. Then I had him do another one where you can see it's Pine Plains Community Center with the pines there. The problem with I think with the seal is that it's kind of hard to read.
It's not.
There's too much small
Yeah,
detail.
yeah. So I think the pine trees might be a better solution if you want that at all. This is a good. And then the other idea would be just to not have anything and just have it say, not have any, it could be either left justified or it could just be plain staff like this. So those were the ideas. I couldn't find the price for the sign. I think it's around $3,500. It might be $6,500, so don't quote me, because I need to go back and find it, because the initial sign that I had him give us the price for is the same, which is the sign I showed you, which is the Fraley and Rayco sign from Millerton. As you're driving in Millerton, it's on towards Connecticut, it's on the right. That's a one post sign with a long hanging piece. It doesn't have enough room for us, the community center, and an open situation, so the visibility is better under that side because there's only one post, but it's going to be more challenging to get everything we need to get on that sign. So I thought maybe next steps is I'll send this to you. Well, first of all, maybe you got it. Does anyone here have feedback on what they like the best? I can pass these around if you want to take a look at them.
Personally, the one that's just the plain community center, I think isn't, no, not that one,
It's just replace the sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, this is the one.
I think it's the one with the seal. This, to me, looks more like it's, again, our community center, which I know is the problem the town has, is that, like we need to keep reminding people that it's not our community center, it's the town community center. And so this, I think, is harder to read that. So I think either the one with the pines.
Right now, it doesn't say Pine Plains Communities.
Right, well, it has the
seal.
seal, but it's
Yeah,
it's hard to decipher it. So I would prefer either of these personally. Question of the library staff is if we're doing the open sign this way and not the flag. The flag is quite visible and nice to see from the road, but we're talking about orienting this closer to the driveway, so I
See
think
it there in the picture, it's there. You can see it.
So
So the flag won't interfere with people's visions if we put the flag.
I think, we could possibly put the flag, put the thing to slide the flag pole into on the side.
In Amelia, they have a small flag. They have it says, I think, Amelia Library, but then it's a long, thin flag that says open like that. So it's only like this wide. It's not like
And it just flutters.
and it just
next to
flutters
it,
there, yeah. It looks pretty nice.
So maybe we can.
So we could do a flag. I had spoken to him about a flag as well. He's not super keen on the swinging open sign.
I think that we start losing the visibility that we're trying to gain.
And then you have to put clothes.
And then, well, no, just take
Just
it
take
down.
it
I
down.
think people will get used to, I know you guys aren't open when the flag's not flying, so
Right.
you start getting used to the.
It's easy to see down the street.
Yeah, no, it is.
I don't know. I like the one with the pine trees. I would change the graphic to the other side. It's very graphic. It's very
So
heavy
flip them,
on.
I like that,
yes.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, so,
Yeah.
And I thought it was gonna be
Or-
too
So did I. This is the-
specifically different.
So did I. This is what he came back with, but the initial idea was that there would be an actual space here. So like the one, there's a sign in Amelia like that, there's also the Rich Brenner sign, and
Yeah.
the Moose on the
Uh-huh.
Loose is like that. Where it's two different boards,
Right.
basically, and there's a bit of visibility between the two, so
I
that
think
is.
that would be the best.
Okay, so I can have him
Personally.
mock up another set.
Now, would you like it right justified or left justified with the words and then the lines on the backside, or do you have a feeling, Ron? I'm just,
What do you think?
so if we're putting the pine trees on this side, we're doing tight left so that it's justified on the left side?
Yeah, sure.
Also, I have to say, if you have it separated like that, to me, if I saw that, I would realize there are two separate things in there. It's not
Yeah,
the library and community room, it's
Right.
the library and the community.
And we could also do the letters for Pine Plains in green as well. So like in a dark green, ours are gray, so those could be in a dark green to match the pine trees. And then that would also make it feel a little bit more distinct.
They could use different fonts too.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought about that. I wasn't
I
sure,
think that might make it,
and I wasn't sure if
Little
you have a
basic.
font that you use.
I don't know the answer to that.
So for next steps, let me have him mock up what we just talked about.
okay,
Two separate boards. Make this dark green, move it over to the left, bring the pine trees over to the right, remove the open sign. And indicate that there would be a small thin flag that would hang on the roadside.
mhm.
Which, we could do white with green or whatever, so. Does everyone agree with that? Okay, and then I will get the price
Okay.
as well.
Right, cause I'm assuming we need the town to approve it, but we need to figure out what everybody's gonna.
Yeah.
Pay. Okay,
Yeah, so I think that the town needs to approve what it is visually. And then Eddie needs to
Yeah.
approve, all the other stuff, the
Yeah.
location,
Yeah.
size, all that.
Mm.
But I think the town would definitely want to weigh in on especially what the Pine Plains Community Center piece looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they have different, if you and the rest of them have different thoughts, I don't, just let us know if they want something else, totally fine. And then the other piece of it is that if we install it ourselves, it'll be cheaper, so if we have someone, if, there's someone in town that wants to install it,
You have a
that
shovel?
would save us.
Somewhere.
Maybe the town
we
would.
may need to
Yeah.
move the flower box. I'm not sure it should be directly under.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's just
Well,
more
actually, I
true.
green boxes. I just walked
Oh,
around the building.
Man,
What are the big green boxes?
isn't that part, that's from the gas line.
It's the gas, right, the propane.
Yeah, the propane tanks.
Everything had to be dug.
They are.
It was all dug up, yeah, they pulled
Yeah,
everything
they
out.
called everything.
There's no grass out there growing yet, right? Is there?
No, it's dirt.
Right.
Yeah,
it's very
Part of
uneven.
the
Yeah,
gardening from.
and
But I have an RFP that that was submitted by the engineer, and so the town has to vote on it.
Okay,
And it has to do
so
with,
that'll be next month.
it'll be next month, yeah, and it has to do with, the spring cleanup, the fall cleanup. And paying attention to the weeds and not just whacking and letting it die and, doing a really good job on all of that.
That's great.
So. That'll be, and also, paying attention to cleaning the parking lot and blowing it and all that other stuff.
did anyone ever figure out about doing the lines over?
That's not in the RFP, but
Yeah,
I think that it should be added, cause like even tonight when I was
I'm
like,
not
okay, I
sure
wanna
that's
park in
the
the shade, but I
garden-
can't see the
I'm
line.
not sure that's the gardener's job. I think that's the maintenance of the parking lot. Which we should.
Right,
maybe have
so
to-
we should ask that question.
Yeah.
Me, I'll ask that question. Me and the mouse in my pocket. We can go past those.
I don't want to talk about fundraising again unless someone has something they need to say about fundraising that hasn't been said so far. I will get back to everybody and we'll start really putting our notes so we're going down on that. Facilities,
Okay, we've got auto pay set up with Welsh and Consolidated Communications as per last month's thing. It'll start next month. We got the $5,000 limit raised on our credit card. They mistakenly sent it to Alexis again. We've got a card in the library's name instead of instead of my name. It does not have to go in my name. It's going in the, Ted arranged this. It's going to be in the library's name and someday it will arrive.
did they send it to Texas?
They haven't sent it yet. I don't know where it's going. It hasn't arrived yet. But we still have our 5,000 credit that we can use
Right.
from the Lexus card. Okay, static IP. This is one thing I brought up last time. The town will not pay for this. It is best practices per Mid Hudson that we have a static IP. And it will be $20 a month. So I just need to get, I guess I can get approval for that, or because it's a utility that it's added onto the bill.
Yeah, yes, and then in the past, we've approved things like that, so, can you get a motion to approve the addition of $20 per month for static IP?
What is a static IP?
It is, so when we use our Sierra, which is it's connected to Mid Hudson, we're all connected via our internet through to all the different libraries in our catalog. The IP is the address that Sierra knows to come look for us. It is a permanent address. So a lot of places use dynamic IPs, so they're always changing, but the system does not recognize that.
Okay.
And so our power went out, or we had a router that went out. And we were able to get it replaced in one day, or 24 hours. But our Sierra was down for 3 days because it took Mid Hudson that long or IPT, Triple I is who is it? Whoever does the Sierra took them 3 days to get us back online. So we could check in books, but we could check out what was we couldn't check out books.
You can check out, you can't check in, and you can't create any kind of records. And even that, at the end, it's not done simultaneously, and you can't upload anything you do to Mid Hudson until the very end. Anyway,
So it was bad. And
So it effectively cripples any operation.
it does,
Yeah.
it does. And
With-
Alexis had coped with this because she tried to get one before. And she put a, uninterruptible power source on it. But, and so that would, if there was a power outage, it would keep that running, so we wouldn't lose our IP. But when that router went down, it just blew us out, so we were down for 3 days. So anyway, this will cure it, and so we will not have this problem again. So thank you. Do we need a motion, or do you know?
Yeah, I think we do need the motion, so if I make the motion that we approve this as a regular monthly bill, we just need to, second
I'll
it.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next one is the Utica National Insurance Group has been sending me weekly letters saying our coverage is reduced, our coverage is changing, and our insurance rate is going up.
I have to say, they've been doing this around town to everybody.
Okay, so I've shown you what the price is going to be. It's going up 14%, and it will be as far as I can tell, the policy expires on the 7th of July. So that's coming down the pike.
Have they said what are the reasons why they're changing it?
No, they're just changing.
And why do we have to use them?
They don't-
So why don't we go to Emery and Webb, who we went to, and see if they can do it?
No, I mean, I don't know. these
Emery and Webb is in Rhinebeck,
people.
and they are, I guess,
They're my insurance, they're my
I think
insurance
Alexis
agency.
used to
And
use
so that's
them.
what she used them because I recommended them.
Utica is the underwriter, so they're not the
Right.
the
front
people who,
man.
the front.
Right.
So Emery and Webb might be the one who connected us with Utica, so we just need to ask
Okay.
them
Yeah.
to
Shop.
rebid it, reshop it to see if we can get something else. I don't know what the the specifics of the policy were. You know, we need, you know, protecting people who are on site and, you know, all that. So we just need to make sure, you know, we have the right things. I didn't get a chance to really comb through what you had sent, something, it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. There was just kind of numbers we
I can-
yeah.
It's, I can send you the specifics of what they've been, they keep arriving weekly, that was just really strange, it just dribbles in, it's like, we're not doing this anymore, this is covered, so.
When you ask them, when you approach them, if you could get some historical reference as to how long we've actually had Utica as our insurer. And if it's changed previously, or if we've just been with them for 40 years.
Okay, library cell phone, this has become an issue as we've transferred accounts from Alexis to me. A lot of places are asking for or demanding two-factor authentication via cell phone. I don't want to hook my cell phone, my personal cell phone, to an account because we're running the same problem that we had with Alexis, because Alexis had to do it. So we've investigated a cheap library cell phone policy that would just be for two-factor authentication that the library would use. It's like, it's gonna be with tax, it's probably around $25 a month. But this would allow us to have.
And it would just live here.
It would live in the drawer, it would only be to receive a code.
Okay.
But you cannot believe how long it has taken me to get some of these accounts transferred because they need a code.
Right.
So it would be a safety measure, it's a security measure for all the accounts that we have. We have a lot of accounts. So that would be my recommendation. It would be a flip phone. It would be nothing fancy.
Right.
Well, it's not gonna be a flip phone, right? It has to be a smartphone.
Yeah.
No,
Phones can do.
It just has to
texting.
receive a text.
yeah, a flip phone. One of those.
Because
consumer
there are
phones.
two, in the two-factor
Right, you have to
authentication,
need
we
an
have to have the number, that's the
authentication.
same number, and I wouldn't get it, I'm not, I would probably get a smartphone. But, cause I think you're gonna run into problems at some point, but. that's-
Yeah, some systems use an authenticator,
Yeah,
which
Google.
is an app
Oh, yeah,
that you need to then
that's true.
be able to plug in, so you might need
That
that.
is true.
So I think you're right, but there's, you know, pretty low tech, smart-ish phones.
I'm on AT&T now, $40 for a prepaid Motorola smartphones.
Right, and honestly, getting a prepaid might be the
Yeah,
smart thing to
yeah.
do with very few minutes, because if all we're doing is receiving text
When you're
or
using it.
using it on Wi-Fi, it probably wouldn't use the minutes.
But they still roll over. You have to, like, they're only good for like 3 months, right? The prepaid.
They have different plans.
Okay,
Yeah, you have
yeah,
to.
we can look at that for sure. But that's, I do, it's been a problem, so.
But I think it's a good idea to get a smartphone
Yeah.
as well. Why don't you do a little more investigating on what the options are for prepaid versus and again, you're not gonna be using it to make phone calls, so you know, we could even do something that has minimal minutes.
Right.
If that's
Meter
what we
function.
have to do, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so the next thing.
Can I say one thing too? You could also look at getting a Google Voice number, which is texting capable. I've used that in the past at places where you need the texting ability and it would be on your desktop. So if you just look at a Google Voice phone number, people can download it to their phone and sign in. It might be more complicated than you want it to be. But if you downloaded it onto the main computer and used that, it's like an app that would go kind of like Zoom on your computer, but it allows you to send and receive texts.
I did look at that, but the banks and certain other places do not recognize that.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like, you can't.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I did think of that, that was a good suggestion.
mhm.
Okay, for security, we had a Google Nest
Mhm.
camera It was hooked, the only way Google works is by hooking it to linking it to a personal account, and Alexis had that. We tried and tried to get it separated from her to put to my name, but it didn't work. So the camera, I cannot access the camera, and I'm like so done with Nest. So,
And actually, I'm not sure they're supporting some of those anymore, because someone else I saw was posting on Facebook, it may have been Beth, was posting that their camera is no longer supported.
oh yeah,
So,
Yeah, you have to switch.
so you
over.
have to switch over, so it might be time to think about a different
I
option.
did. So
Okay.
here's my, I talked to Rich Harlan, he came in, he's done our networking. And our system he set up for us is capable of, doing cameras. So it can house up to 6 or work up to 6 cameras. I got a bid for him. We went around and looked for outdoors, indoors, looking at just different things. For 4 cameras, 2 wired, 2 wireless, with very good resolution. It would be $376 for the camera. There would be setup
For each camera or for
for
total?
all of it. For all the mounts and everything and the flat fee for doing all the work, it would be $676 for 4 cameras.
So
And
that's
we would
$1,000.
own, no, that's total,
600 plus the 300
No,
for the,
total,
okay,
total,
okay.
all hardware and setup.
Okay.
We would store the data locally. We would have total control, no monthly fees, nothing. And we would have access to it through our phones if we needed on our computers. So, he can do that pretty quickly. Right now, we don't have any because I couldn't get it Google set up. But we can also just go down to 2 cameras.
Where would the 2 cameras be?
He was looking at, so we would get each door. So one would be facing, I forgot what he set up. One would be facing, it would be covering both doors and the inside of the library. A lot of libraries around us are putting a lot of cameras to get all the angles of all the
Right.
places. But the 4 cameras would cover this area. It would basically cover the whole place.
Right.
But the 2 cameras for sure would cover the doors, the 2 doors. And some of the inside.
The 4 cameras are all inside.
Yes, they're all inside cameras.
The two wireless would be the ones further out?
No,
I'm
they would
assuming?
be in here.
Okay.
They would be covering the inside area. The 2 wired ones would be covering the doors.
Okay.
Because they would be mounted in the ceilings. The wireless ones would be mounted like up on top of some of these bookshelves and powered by some of the plugs next door to them.
Something facing towards the office, just
Oh,
to,
Yeah,
or,
well, they would
or not
the whole-
facing the desk?
It would be all this, I'll have to go back and see what his
I'd be
exact.
curious to
angles
see
were.
it, cause I mean, and it may not be really, that may be a decision that you and your staff have to decide. Sometimes it is not that you wanna necessarily have a camera facing the staff every day, all day, but towards those areas where there's money,
Right.
there's office, there's, stuff going in and out.
Mhm.
Like use it for more security and just catching people ripping barcodes off of books.
But that's-
Most libraries use it.
But that pricing was, I thought that was good.
Yeah,
And-
I think that seems like a good use of some of the money. We still have that money from, what's her face?
Perkins,
The
yes.
lady from.
$50,000.
Yeah, so we have used that, we'd use that for the website redesign. So that tends to be like kind of our unusual tech amounts. Maybe that's a good place to dip in for that, or.
Is there a cap on how many cameras the system is able to?
Currently 6.
6.
Yeah. But that's
So-
like a terabyte of data. They'd last for 30 days and then roll over, but that's 4
That's a
cameras
lot.
would, 4 cameras would cover this place totally. Not the children's room, but we were gonna get sort of an angle in this children's room, a children's area, but staff is usually sitting there and we can see in there.
Patrick, is that an issue?
I think actually not putting a camera in the children's room probably makes a lot of sense. That if people found out about it, they might be upset.
I missed the question. You're talking about filming children?
Yeah, essentially.
Exactly.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, no, probably not a good idea. I mean, I will tell you that, you know, any, I think everyone in the country has a First Amendment right to film public spaces. And our children's area is probably a public space, but I agree that we shouldn't be we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. No,
So can we have a motion to approve the use of some of that money?
Are we going for the 2, 4, 6? How many are we going for? Do we decide?
I think six would be too much,
Sure.
honestly.
That was for 4,
That was for 4, this was for
Yeah,
4.
for 4.
676 for 4.
I think that makes sense, and I like cap like $1,000 and, you know, just use what you need, but like, instead of having to come back to us to approve 800, if it ends up going up to
Okay,
800,
1,000.
let's say up to 1,000. I make that motion that we approve $1,000 of the, what's her face's money?
Perkins.
Thank you. I'm too tired
She's
today.
rolled over in her grave.
Yes, if I could have pulled up the right, I just shut down my minutes. I make the motion that we approve that use of that money for the cameras.
For 4 cameras.
I'll second it.
Yes, for 4 cameras. Second, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
So this is just a security measure. It's not because we have a lot of
There's
issues going on.
No, we used to have one that went out the back door. That was the Nest camera that Alexis had. It
Just
just was.
the door kept being left open, so I
Yeah,
think there
so
was
it
some
was
concern
some-
about who was leaving the door open, who was coming in the middle, who
Right,
was coming into the library,
right,
who were, so.
yeah. I mean, all the truth is, in the last year, the keys were all changed, so that has been less of a problem, but I just think it is a way to secure our facilities.
And for relatively cheap, I would not have
Yeah.
thought that that would have been for that price.
Yeah, and then to have a hard drive on site.
set up.
I'm telling you, with that stuff.
Yeah.
If you talk about it and you don't do it, it'll happen. So take the precaution.
Was there any, just to go back to the, well, we're gonna, policy review starting next month. We're gonna start doing a couple of ones that we can easily knock off and some that we might have to have longer conversations on. But we'll start, plowing through those policies, over the next stretch of time. Janine, did you want to say anything? I guess we could do old business and new business.
No, I just
No.
wanted to
Okay.
mention the
Just that,
RFP.
I don't think there's anything pending for old business in, I think we tend to.
I have
New
a question.
business,
Old business.
old business.
Can we start posting the agenda? I had asked probably in December to have the agenda posted for the meetings on the Facebook page. We did it
Facebook.
2 meetings maybe, and then dropped off because there was the vote and then Alexis's changeover
So I put it on the website,
on the Facebook.
on Facebook.
That's my personal,
Okay.
that was my
Domain.
request.
Agenda or all, just the agenda?
Just the agenda,
Okay.
and then if people want more, they can go onto the website.
Because we did make it, we made the week.
Saw that, yeah. Yeah,
It wasn't pretty,
supplying
but we
yourself,
made it.
you know, that's awesome.
It wasn't pretty, but we'll get better.
Jean, did you want to say something?
I have a question, just you know, we are gratefully using the room upstairs to move books in and out, which is great. But in that room are the old cabinets that were on the wall in the children's room that were taken out in that renovation with the money that Alexis got for the. And just, I don't know why we still have them. They don't really belong to the library, I'm thinking. They belong to the town, I'm thinking. That's in.
Why
You
do you
want
think
them to
they
be
belong to
gone,
the
or-
town?
Cause they were part of the building? I don't know.
They were in the library?
They're like kitchen cabinets or cabinets, they were
On the
storage
blue, on the
cabinets.
back wall.
Okay.
I mean,
She had
they're,
the whole thing ripped out to make more room.
you know, they were against the back wall and there was a sink there.
Yeah,
That was taken out.
the sink was taken out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was all taken out.
to make space.
When?
Like a year and a half
well,
ago.
Yeah.
Alexis had
I guess I haven't been up
had
there.
a big grant
That was
No,
down here,
no,
it's down
down
here.
here.
In the children's section.
The children's section has.
down here, but they ended up there in that room.
The physical cabinets.
Okay,
did.
somebody may have asked that we save them or something, right?
So I mean, I thought they're in good condition, maybe they could. I don't know who has ownership of them. I'm assuming the town, but I don't know.
I can ask.
So
Maybe we could donate them to Willow Roots or
But
something.
it
Right.
might be
Yeah,
nice
could
to
do
sell
something.
them.
Yeah.
So the question is, who owns them and you would like to see them gone to a good purpose?
Yes,
Well, not me. I'm just saying,
No, I mean, the
Yeah.
group.
Yeah,
well, yeah,
you know,
we,
rather than.
we are not in use, we're not using them anymore.
Yeah, I'll take a run upstairs to look at them. I don't even remember seeing them.
They were against the
They're-
back wall.
Okay.
In that room, they were against the back wall a year ago when we did the book sale. But they got moved into the middle of the room.
I think-
We put a broken table on top of it. There's a broken table, there's some, you know, there are broken chairs, there's an old TV set up there, TV.
Sounds
We
like
need
it's
to
a bit of a
start-
clean out.
Yeah, I think we need to all get rid of like broken furniture, not by moving it upstairs.
And you know, there was
So
a
the
lot of,
broken furniture belongs to whom?
It doesn't belong to us. I don't
Okay.
think it belong, I don't think. it was
May
the
have
library's,
been-
was it?
no, I think it was like the chair, I don't know about the table, but the chairs were originally. You know, some of them are still up there,
I'm
obviously.
not sure there's anything that belongs to the Oddfellows in that space. I'm not sure they ever moved back in.
No, they really, well, they had a room for a while.
Right, but did they
Yeah.
have any of the stuff there?
So maybe we need to set up a little meeting with somebody from the town that knows and somebody from here that knows and say, what are we gonna do with this?
Mhm.
Right now,
And
after the book sale.
Okay,
But,
Yeah. not tomorrow.
what they were saying about that. Yeah. And broken. Oh, I was gonna say, Brian took that other room as his office, and I think he decided to move things into.
Brian Coons.
Brian Coons took the other room next to the bathrooms, you know.
Oh,
And made it his office. He's the recreation director.
I know. Yeah.
Now, so.
That was discussed previously when Michael Cooper was the rec director. That was supposed to be his office. I don't think Michael ever utilized it, but.
I mean, there were things in there like a cabinet that was marked Weight Watchers. I don't know if anything was still in it, because Weight Watchers used to.
Yeah.
Meet
that
it.
hasn't
A
been.
while ago.
That was moved into the other room. You know, I don't know. And then the basement, there's big boxes that were sent to. Who did you mention first? Not Brian, but
Cooper.
that are with his address on them. I don't know what they are.
And all the
so
rest.
a
we've
a
got
note of
moved,
basic inventory and clean out of the upstairs and the basement.
Right.
I know Brian was gonna take the maps out, but.
Coons, I thought he did,
I
no,
thought- I think he,
No,
oh, I thought he did.
no, he hasn't done that.
Okay.
okay. And there's some sort of abandoned gym equipment outdoors,
Brian said he was gonna take that as well.
okay.
He took our e-materials. He took all of our excess e-materials to Maris, but the rest of the stuff is still here. So,
Okay.
and we're grateful for him taking the e-material.
Yeah.
away.
Was that the wrestling equipment? What's the-
And the rest of them.
It's mostly
It's
just the
wrestling.
mats now. I mean, there was all kinds of equipment down there. all kinds of
School might
stuff.
want the
Old
mats.
mats, new mats, there's a whole bunch
I
of
don't
them.
have any idea. I
Cold
have
Spring.
no idea who was the wrestling people. Was it connected to
Tom
the?
summarized.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
okay, was it
He's
connected
gone.
to the school?
No, they wouldn't,
Was it-
they, I think they disbanded wrestling at the school, but there was still an interest in wrestling. So he started a wrestling club which operated in the basement
Mhm.
and it went on during COVID and then suddenly they disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah, there, I know the other guy who's associated with it, though. I'm sure we could reach out to him.
Didn't they move it to the school?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it's still
So
operating.
the school is now doing wrestling?
as far as
Just
I know,
giving them
yeah,
the space, I think, right? It's not.
I don't.
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
I
a
don't think
school
it's-
program.
yeah.
Okay.
so-
We should ask whether they want the mats, and if not,
They don't fit in it. I don't know what
it's
to
not
do
gonna
with
fit
them.
in my car, but. Okay, thing to think about. So do we have any other things we need to talk about? Then I think we should adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Who
you.
first did?
I did.
And Gary. Thank you. You don't